Welcome back, lunatics. I'm Raving Mad, aka the Raving Lunatic, and you're watching a Plus Ultra Babble, a series where I theorize and discuss all things My Hero Academia related. And today I'll be talking about one of the most discussed topics in the fandom, the UA Traitor. So without further delay, let's get started. Ever since it was revealed that there was a traitor among the students and teachers of UA Academy, many fans have been working non-stop to try and figure out who it could be before the show reveals the answer. And a lot of the videos I've seen on this topic seem to indicate that Hagakure is the traitor, given that everything that's happened so far in the series has in some way or another been linked back to her because she has an invisibility quirk. However, while most of these videos are well constructed and make some very strong arguments, I feel there is one thing that they all fail to mention, and that is motivation. In every video I watched on Hagakure being the UA traitor, not a single person has gone over what they think could be her motivation for it. Well, today, dear viewers, I plan on finding that motivation. But before I do, let's go over some of the main reasons fans are speculating that she's the traitor of the school. First, when it came to voting for a class president in the manga, there were only 19 votes cast in a class of 20 students, and since Hagakure's name wasn't on the board, fans believed that she was absent that day and that it was most likely because she was helping Shigaraki break into the school and steal the staff schedule. Second, after the attack on the USJ, Hagakure claimed that she was warped to the landslide zone with Todoroki, but not only did he dispute her claim, she was nowhere near Todoroki when Kirigiri warped them away, leaving her true location a complete mystery. Lastly, when Shigaraki went to the mall to clear his head, he managed to walk right into Midoriya, who was all by himself at the time of their encounter. Now normally that wouldn't have been a big issue, but when you take into account that the reason Class 1A was at the mall in the first place was because Hagakure suggested that they all go shopping together, it starts to become clear that all of these strange occurrences are happening because of someone, most likely an invisible force in a skirt. But now that we know why fans believe it's Hagakure, we now have to figure out what her motivations for being the UA traitor could be. For the purpose of this video, I will only be focusing on these particular episodes of the series because I believe they each hold a significant piece of evidence in them that could explain why Hagakure would turn traitor on her friends and the school. First up, Episode 8. Here we saw during the second combat training exercise, Hagakure was gonna use her quirk to try and sneak up on Todoroki and Shoji, but because of Todoroki's ice powers, it didn't work. What we can take away from this episode is that her quirk is very weak against opponents who can cover large distances. Though I wouldn't say this fact alone is enough for Hagakure to want to go rogue, it's definitely a good start in trying to decipher her motives. Next up on this list, we have Episode 9. Now, unlike the manga, this episode actually shows that Hagakure's name is on the board when the class was voting for a president. But what stood out to me was the fact that her name was at the very bottom of the board, which probably meant that while most of the class only got one vote, they were all slightly more qualified for the position than she was. If that were the case, then not only would it imply that she's a bad matchup against certain quirks, but she's also a bad matchup against certain people as well. However, even if that were the case for her name being at the bottom of the board, I doubt that something as small as being the class president would be enough to push her over the edge to want to join the villains. Especially since everyone seemed to be in agreement with Midoriya's choice to step down and appoint Ida as the class president afterwards. Still, this small difference between the show and the manga is something worth keeping an eye on. So let's save this one for now and move on to episode 14, because this is where things start getting interesting. After the attack on the USJ, the school decided to continue with its plans to host the UA Sports Festival, which Hagakure seemed pretty excited about since her first attempt to stand out was ruined by the fact that she was only seen as a pair of floating gloves and boots by the news networks. She even wanted to try doing a cheer so that she would have a better chance at getting noticed. I'll talk more about this moment later because right now I want to mention what spot she came in during the first event of the sports festival in episode 16. 38th out of 42 spots, making her the second to last member of her class with the lowest score in the cavalry battle, which isn't very good if you want to try and stand out in a very large crowd. So it makes sense why in episode 17 she tried to hide that failure by getting on a team with Bakugo, who came in 3rd place, but of course she didn't make the cut and had to settle for these guys, who by the way did a much better job than her in the race. And it's pretty clear at this point why, because her quirk just isn't that good. most notably against anyone in her class. Which brings me back to one of the points I wanted to talk about earlier in episode 14. Remember when Hagakure wanted to do a cheer so that she would have a better chance at getting noticed? While in episode 19, Mineta and Kaminari tricked all of the girls into being cheerleaders, which of course they didn't take kindly to. However, there was one girl out of their group that was visibly not upset with their little prank and was actually thrilled by the opportunity. In fact, you could say she was kinda motivated by the amount of attention she would be getting by their stunt. Hagakure was the only one that didn't have any issue with being tricked into dressing like a cheerleader, and I believe I know why. Because she wants the one thing that her quirk can never give her, attention. And that, my friends, is what I believe to be Hagakure's motive for being the UA Traitor. I mean, look at the world they live in. A place where heroes are constantly in high demand because of the rampant growth in new villains and powerful quirks that society has reached a point to where it can no longer function without them. This very dependence has altered the concept of heroes so much that there are now two types of heroes in My Hero Academia. The ones like All Might, who are heroes to their core and have accomplished great things because of their desire to help others rather than themselves. And the ones like Endeavor, who have turned the literal definition into a race to be the best through power and fame. But tell me, what happens when a person can't be seen as either? They can't be seen as a true hero like All Might because their quirk is just not on the same level as his in terms of power, capability, and presence. Also, they can't be acknowledged by society with a quirk that doesn't draw much attention or shows a decent amount of versatility like some of the other ones do. Because Hagakure is always invisible, she would never leave a lasting impression on society since they will never see it happen. This is what I believe will cause her to want to change sides and join the League of Villains, because she would be able to see society for what it truly is and what it takes to be a real hero. It's getting noticed. And what better way to do that than to betray the very society she worked so hard to become a part of? But hey, those are just my thoughts. If you agree, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more content. If you don't, however, then feel free to comment your thoughts on this video down in the comment section. And as always, thanks for watching. I'm Raven Mad, and this has been a Plus Ultra Babble. Catch you later.